Hey, I'm entering a very busy time at work, so for the next month, I'm gonna have to kind of keep my content to some pretty easy things for me to do. So I may have to take a little bit longer on some of the unbelievable big conversation stuff, and even sermon summaries are going to be difficult to put out at this time. But I'm gonna have to do some stuff ahead of time just so I can kind of keep releasing content regularly. Um, so I'm gonna probably do a few more movie reviews because they're just easier to make. Um, but I hopefully will still be able to get in some other elements as well. So this is my review of American Gigolo. Paul Schrader was the director. He made a movie earlier in the retrospective. I didn't keep the written review of it, which was called Hardcore, and it was about a family who their daughter ended up disappearing, and they send out a private investigator, and the investigator goes out and finds out that she has been wrapped up in the world of pornography. And this could have been an exceptional film, and instead it ended up being just kind of entertaining and did something else I don't like that happens in movies a lot, which is you got the storyline and then the very, very end, how they solve it, violence. I'm not some anti-violence person for film, although, you could make all kinds of statements about Christianity and violence on film and all that, but this isn't, there will be a time where maybe I'll address that, but not right now. I'll just say though, like you could have resolved the story, and instead it's just a fight at the end. And so this movie, Hardcore, ends up being kind of cheesy, and I was really looking forward to it. It sounded so good. It had George C. Scott, and I thought, wow, this has real potential. And boy, it was a big letdown because it was just about this father looking for his daughter, and I thought, man, this could be really rough to watch. And it's funny, one of the people on the show said they wanted it to be done documentary style. And I was like, that would have been a really good idea, but he said it got Hollywoodized. Well, American Gigolo, same thing. Same thing. It was a really good idea that could have been about a male flesh peddler. And instead, they got Richard Gere in here and turned it into this sort of. It did do some things really well. In fact, I gave it 3 stars. I actually thought it was very entertaining, but it would kind of brush up to points that it was going to ask really good questions, and sometimes it did, but most of the times it didn't. And it was very disappointing. I remember, like, man, you really could have harped in on something interesting here, and you didn't do it. And it's just unfortunate. It's too bad. So I will say one thing about the film is, and I noticed this when there's a turn of a decade, you will see the decor in the films and the wardrobes start to sort of evolve a little bit into that what that decade's known for. So like right now, that movie looks like a 70s film just by looking at it. In fact, it was probably filmed in the 70s. But some of the color is 80s. There's some pinks and blues. But it's still a very drab movie, and I just hate 70s. I think the 70s in terms of like the way things looked aesthetically, like carpet and interior design and all, it was so ugly. Even back with them when I was a child, I remember thinking it was ugly. Green shaggy carpets and stuff. Anyway, I do recommend the movie if you're looking just to be entertained, or if you're a big Richard Gere fan. Two good reasons to watch the movie. If you're looking for something that's really going to ask tough questions, it just doesn't. Isn't able to pull it off. Now, one last. I'm sorry. Another last thing. Like Hardcore, which just ends with just cheesy violence and this sort of bad motivations for the daughter and all that. American Gigolo ends in a very similar. I'm not going to call it Deus Ex Machina, but it does end in a very like it's basically, sorry if this is a spoiler, but he finds love and that fixes everything. If you think that sounds cheesy, that's because it is. But it would be worth it still to watch if you just want an entertaining movie.